The wedding dress I bought. My stepdaughter stole it for herself. I had always been the kind of woman who believed in second chances. After my first marriage fell apart, I was convinced that love wasn't for me anymore. But then Mark came into my life. He wasn't like anyone I'd ever met. His kindness, his sense of humor, and the way he made me feel safe again brought a spark of hope that I thought had long since faded. We had been together for 5 years when he finally popped the question. It was an unexpected proposal, but it felt right. I had waited so long for something real, something pure, and here it was, right in front of me. I was going to marry Mark, and for the first time in years, I felt like a true bride-to-be. There were a million things to plan. The wedding was a whirlwind of excitement. Choosing the venue, the flowers, the guest list. But for me, the most important part of the day had always been the dress. I had spent years imagining what it would look like. The delicate lace, the soft fabric brushing against my skin, the way I'd feel walking down the aisle. It wasn't just about looking beautiful. It was about feeling like I belonged in that moment. I remember the first time I went shopping for it. My best friend, Sarah, had come with me and we laughed, tried on ridiculous gowns, and eventually found the perfect one. It was vintage-inspired, with intricate lace that ran down the sleeves and a soft satin skirt that swirled as I moved. The moment I stepped into it, I felt like I had been transported to another world. Like this was my chance to live out a fairy tale, a second chance at happiness. When I finally decided on the dress, I couldn't wait to show it to Mark. But there was something else that I was especially excited about. Sharing it with my stepdaughter, Lily. Lily wasn't just Mark's daughter. Over the years, she had become more like my own. I had spent hours with her, helping with school projects, going to the movies together, sharing tips on skincare and makeup. She had always been sweet and supportive, and I thought we had built a relationship based on trust and understanding. When I told her I had found my wedding dress, I watched her face light up. "That's amazing, Mom," she said with a grin, her eyes bright. "I bet you look incredible in it." And I did. I felt incredible. As I stood there in front of the mirror, the dress hugged my body perfectly, and I couldn't help but imagine Mark's reaction when he saw me in it for the first time. I was going to walk down the aisle in it, surrounded by family and friends. It was the dress of my dreams. Over the next few weeks, however, things began to feel off. It wasn't anything obvious at first. Lily still smiled and complimented me on the wedding details, but there was something in her eyes, a kind of distance that I hadn't noticed before. She became more reserved, less eager to be involved in the wedding plans. It was a strange feeling, one that I couldn't shake. I tried to convince myself it was just the stress of the upcoming event. After all, Lily had her own life to live. She was 19, in the midst of figuring out who she was, and maybe she just wasn't as interested in the wedding as I had hoped. But deep down, I knew something wasn't quite right. She had been so excited before, so full of energy. No, she seemed almost distant. I tried reaching out to her, casually bringing up the wedding plans. "Are you still excited about the big day?" I'd ask. She would always smile, but there was a tension behind her words. "Yeah, of course. I'm happy for you, really." But it didn't feel genuine. Not anymore. It was a little thing at first, a slight change in tone, a delayed response. But something about it nagged at me like an itch I couldn't scratch. The wedding was getting closer and I couldn't wait to see everything come together. But when I got home one afternoon after a fitting for the bridesmaids' dresses, my stomach dropped when I walked into the house. I went straight to my room, eager to see my wedding dress hanging in the back of the closet, but when I opened the door, my heart skipped a beat. The protective garment bag was gone. At first, I thought I was mistaken. Maybe I had taken it somewhere by accident. Maybe Mark had moved it, trying to help with the wedding preparations. I checked the closet again. Still nothing. I turned the room upside down, searching everywhere for it. But the more I searched, the more my panic began to rise. There was no way it could just disappear like that. This dress had been so carefully placed in its bag, a symbol of everything I had hoped for. No. It was gone. I called out to Mark, asking if he had seen it. "No, I haven't touched it," he said, his voice filled with confusion. "Are you sure you didn't put it somewhere else?" I was becoming frantic now. There was no way this was just a mistake. Someone had taken it. Just as I was about to lose all hope, my phone buzzed. I stared at the screen for a moment before opening the message. It was from Lily. "Lily, I'm so sorry. I couldn't help myself. I wanted to wear your dress. So beautiful. It's everything I've ever imagined for myself, and I just thought, Maybe I could wear it too. I didn't mean to hurt you. Please don't be angry. My heart dropped into my stomach. It felt like the ground had been ripped from under me. Lily had taken my dress. She had stolen the most important thing to me, something I had spent so long dreaming about. I stood there, my phone still clutched in my trembling hand, staring at Lily's message as if the words were written in a foreign language. It couldn't be real. She couldn't have done this to me. I blinked, hoping that maybe, just maybe, it was some kind of cruel joke. But the longer I stared, the more the words sank in. I'm so sorry. I couldn't help myself. I wanted to wear your dress. So beautiful. It's everything I've ever imagined for myself, and I just thought, maybe I could wear it too. I didn't mean to hurt you. Please don't be angry. My heart raced in my chest. Anger, hurt, confusion, they all mixed together in a swirling storm inside of me. I didn't know whether to cry, scream, or throw my phone across the room. The one thing that I had been holding on to, the one thing that had made all the wedding chaos feel worth it, was now nothing more than a twisted joke stolen from me by the one person I had thought I could trust the most. I quickly typed a reply, my fingers shaking so badly that I had to erase the words several times before they felt right. Where is my dress, Lily? I hit send before I could second-guess myself. Then I stood there waiting for her response. Every second that passed felt like an eternity. My mind was racing. What was I supposed to say to her? How could I even begin to process what had happened? The minutes dragged on. I glanced at the door to my bedroom, the one place where the dress was supposed to be hanging. It was empty now. A hollow space. It felt like everything had been ripped away from me. Finally, my phone buzzed again. I opened the message, and this time my stomach twisted into a knot. Lily, I know it's wrong. I know I should have asked first, but when I saw the dress, I couldn't stop myself. I've always wanted something that would make me feel special, and when I tried it on, I just felt so beautiful. It was like I was meant to wear it. Please don't hate me. I promise I'll give it back. I read the message 3 times, trying to make sense of it. She had taken it because she wanted to feel beautiful. She wanted to feel special. I took a deep breath and tried to calm myself, but the anger was bubbling up again. She wanted to feel special? Was that supposed to be an excuse? This was my wedding dress, the dress I had dreamed of for years, and she had stolen it without a second thought. And now she was asking for my forgiveness as if it was nothing. Like it was just another mistake. I quickly dialed her number, my fingers pressed against the screen so hard that I thought I might break it. The phone rang once, twice, then she picked up. Lily, I said, my voice cold. Where are you? Where is my dress? I could hear her breathe in deeply on the other end. Her voice came out small and shaky. Mom, I didn't know what to do. I didn't think it would matter. I thought you'd be fine with it because it's just a dress, right? My heart sank. Just a dress? I wanted to scream. This wasn't just a dress. This was the dress I had poured my hopes and dreams into. This was the dress I had imagined myself wearing when I said my vows to Mark. The dress that was supposed to symbolize everything I had been through to get to this point in my life. I tried to keep my voice steady, but it cracked. You took it, Lily. You took something that wasn't yours, and now it's gone. You don't just steal someone's wedding dress because you want to feel special. You don't do that. I didn't mean to hurt you, she said quickly, her voice rising with panic. I thought I could wear it for my wedding someday. I didn't think it would cause this much trouble. I'm sorry, okay? I didn't mean for it to be this big of a deal. I stood in the middle of my room, feeling the weight of her words pressing down on me. Was this what she thought of me? That I wouldn't care? That it was just a dress to me? It was hard to breathe, to think. I wanted to tell her everything. How hurt I was, how betrayed I felt, how she had taken something from me that I couldn't get back. But I didn't know how to make her understand the depth of my pain. She was my stepdaughter, yes, but in that moment it felt like we were strangers. Where are you, Lily? I asked again, my voice strained. I didn't even recognize it anymore. I'm at home, she replied. I swear I'll give it back. I'll get it cleaned and it'll be like nothing happened. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw things, but I didn't. I took a deep breath, trying to keep my composure. This wasn't just about the dress. This was about everything that had been building up beneath the surface. The trust, the love, the relationship we had worked so hard to build. It felt like it was crumbling in front of me. I'm coming over, I said, my voice firm. I'll be there in 30 minutes. You better have my dress when I get there. There was a long pause on the other end. Then Lily finally spoke, her voice small. I'll have it, Mom. I promise. I drove in silence, my hands gripping the steering wheel as if it were the only thing keeping me grounded. Every turn, every stoplight felt like an eternity, and the closer I got to Lily's place, the more my stomach churned. I couldn't believe I was doing this. I had never imagined I'd be in this position, confronting my stepdaughter over something so deeply personal. Thought I knew Lily. I thought we had a bond, a relationship built on trust and respect. But this was a betrayal on a level I hadn't prepared for. I tried to push the thoughts out of my mind, but they kept coming back. Her words, her excuses, the way she had taken something that was so important to me without any regard for how I would feel. Just a dress, she had said. Like it was nothing. I arrived at her apartment complex and parked in front of the building. The air felt thick with tension and my heart was pounding in my chest. I didn't know what to expect when I walked through that door. Was she going to act like everything was fine? Was she going to apologize and beg for my forgiveness? Or was this going to be the beginning of a rupture between us? One that we could never come back from? As I walked up the stairs to her apartment, I could hear the faint sound of music through the thin walls. I knocked firmly on the door, taking a deep breath, trying to prepare myself for whatever was going to happen next. A few seconds passed before I heard footsteps on the other side. The door creaked open and there stood Lily, looking almost nervous. Her usual confidence was gone, replaced by a kind of apprehension I wasn't used to seeing in her. She had always been the one who seemed so put together, so calm. Now she seemed small and fragile. I didn't say anything at first. I just stood there staring at her, the anger and hurt bubbling up inside of me. I couldn't speak for a moment because if I did, I wasn't sure I could control my emotions. But eventually I found my voice, though it sounded nothing like the calm, collected woman I usually was. "Where is it?" I asked, my voice shaking slightly. Lily looked down at the ground, unable to meet my gaze. "It's in the back room," she said quietly. "I didn't mean for it to get this far, Mom. I didn't know how to fix it." I stepped inside, my eyes scanning the room looking for the dress. It didn't take long before I saw the garment bag. Its familiar shape, the way it hung awkwardly in the corner as if it knew it didn't belong there. I walked toward it, feeling like I was walking toward a funeral, not a confrontation. I unzipped the bag slowly, almost unwilling to see it, but I had to. I needed to. The dress was there, perfectly intact, except for one thing. It wasn't in the condition I had left it in. There were creases in the fabric, wrinkles that couldn't be ignored. And the smell, it was different. It wasn't the fresh, clean scent of the bridal shop. It smelled like Lily, like her perfume, her scent. I froze, staring at it. For a moment it didn't even feel real. The dress I had poured my heart into, the one that I had dreamed of wearing for Mark, was now tainted. I couldn't hold back anymore. The tears welled up in my eyes and I felt my chest tighten with emotion. "Do you have any idea what you've done, Lily?" I asked, my voice breaking. "This dress, it's not just fabric. It's everything. It's a symbol of my love for Mark. It's the one thing I was looking forward to, the one thing I could hold on to through all of the chaos of this wedding. And you..." I stopped myself before I could say more. I didn't want to lash out. "Not yet." Lily shifted uncomfortably from one foot to the other. "I didn't mean for you to feel this way, Mom. I thought it would be okay if I just borrowed it. I didn't think it would make you this upset. I thought you would understand. You always tell me to do what makes me happy. This dress made me happy." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "You stole my dress, Lily. You didn't borrow it. You didn't ask for permission. You took it without thinking about how it would make me feel. You didn't think about me at all." She opened her mouth to speak, but I held up my hand, stopping her. "You can't just take things from people, Lily. You can't take what belongs to someone else because it makes you happy. You don't get to do that. Not to me." There was a long silence and I could see the guilt written all over her face. But then something shifted in her expression. Her eyes hardened and her shoulders straightened. "I'm sorry," she said, her voice low. "But I don't think you understand. I needed that dress, Mom. I needed to feel something beautiful for once. I've never had that. Everything has always been about you. About your wedding, your plans, your life, and I just wanted something of my own. Something that made me feel special." I stared at her, trying to process her words. There was a part of me that understood. There always had been a part of me that wanted to help her find her own confidence, her own sense of self-worth. But this wasn't the way. "Lily," I said, my voice softer now. "You don't have to take from me to feel special. You never have. You are special just the way you are. But this wasn't the way to find it. I don't know how to fix this. I don't know how we move forward after this." Her eyes filled with tears, but she quickly wiped them away. "I'm so sorry. I never meant to hurt you. I never meant for it to get this far." We stood there for what felt like an eternity, neither of us knowing what to say next. The distance between us had widened in a way I didn't know how to bridge. "I want the dress back," I said finally, my voice steady. "And I need some time. I need to think about all of this." Lily nodded, stepping back as I turned to leave. The door closed behind me, but the weight of her words lingered in the air. And as I walked away, I realized that this wasn't just about a wedding dress. It was about a relationship that had been shaken to its core. The next few days passed in a blur. The wedding was still just around the corner, but it felt like a distant reality now. What should have been one of the happiest times of my life was now overshadowed by the betrayal I had never expected. Every time I tried to focus on the final preparations, my mind would wander back to Lily, to the hurt she had caused, and to the growing distance between us. Mark noticed something was wrong, of course. He could always tell when I wasn't quite myself. We were sitting at the kitchen table one evening sipping coffee, when he finally asked the question I had been dreading. "Is everything okay with you and Lily?" His voice was gentle, but there was concern in his eyes. "You've been quiet lately, and I can tell something's bothering you." I put my cup down slowly, trying to figure out how to answer him. How could I even begin to explain what had happened without making it sound like I was overreacting? I didn't want to seem like I was blowing things out of proportion, but the truth was, this wasn't something I could just let go. It was too big. "Lily took my wedding dress," I said softly, looking down at the table. I couldn't look him in the eye as I said it, afraid that the pain would show too clearly. "She stole it, Mark. She didn't ask. He just took it." And when I confronted her, she said it was because she wanted to feel beautiful. Like I did. Mark's reaction was immediate. He sat back in his chair, his brow furrowed in disbelief. "What? Why would she do that?" "I don't know," I whispered, shaking my head. "I don't understand. She said she was sorry, but it's not about the dress, Mark. It's about the trust. It's about the relationship we've built, and now it feels like it's been shattered." I felt the tears start to form again, but I fought them back. I couldn't let myself cry in front of him. Not now. Not like this. Mark reached across the table, taking my hand gently in his. "This doesn't sound like Lily. She's usually so respectful. Maybe there's more to this than we realize." "I don't know," I whispered. She seemed so apologetic but also defensive. Like she didn't really understand why it hurt me so much. She said she just wanted to feel special. "But it's not just about the dress, Mark. She took something that wasn't hers, and now everything feels different. I don't know how to move forward with her after this." Mark squeezed my hand, his voice filled with a mixture of sympathy and concern. "I know you're hurt, but I think we need to talk to her. Really talk to her, try to get to the root of this. Maybe she doesn't understand the full impact of what she did. She's young, maybe she just didn't think it through." I nodded, but deep down I wasn't sure if talking would fix anything. It wasn't just the dress. It was what it represented. The trust that had been broken, the sense of betrayal that seemed impossible to erase. I didn't know if I could go back to the way things were before. It felt like a wall had been built between us, and I didn't know how to tear it down. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about everything that had happened, replaying the conversation with Lily over and over in my head. I could still see her face, how she had seemed genuinely sorry, but how she also seemed so entitled to my dress. And then I thought about all the times I had been there for her, trying to guide her, to give her the kind of love and care she needed after her mother passed away. I had been trying to be a good stepmom, a mentor, a friend. But now it felt like all of that was being thrown back in my face. I finally got out of bed and went to the window, staring out at the quiet street below. The city was peaceful at night, the lights from the buildings casting long shadows across the ground. It was the kind of peace I longed for in my own heart. In the morning, I decided to go over to Lily's apartment again. Mark was right, we needed to talk. But this time I wasn't sure what I was going to say. I wasn't sure if I could forgive her right away or if I even wanted to. The truth was, I didn't know how to fix this, and I was scared of what would happen if I couldn't. I took a deep breath before knocking on her door. I was determined to be calm this time, but my heart was racing. When Lily opened the door, she looked at me with wide eyes, her face pale. "Hi, Mom," she said quietly, stepping aside to let me in. Hi, I said, my voice hoarse. I couldn't help but notice how she was avoiding eye contact, almost like she was ashamed of what had happened. Can we talk? Of course, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. She motioned toward the couch and we both sat down. The silence stretched between us, thick and heavy. I've been thinking a lot about what happened, I began, my voice shaking. And I'm still really hurt, Lily. I can't pretend like everything's okay when it's not. But I also want to understand why you did it. Why my dress? Why not talk to me first? Lily's eyes filled with tears again, but she didn't speak at first. When she did, her voice was choked with emotion. I didn't think it would be this big of a deal. I wanted to feel like I was a part of something. You've always been so happy with Mark, and everything's always been about your wedding and what you wanted. I just wanted something for me. I thought if I could just wear the dress, it would make me feel special too. It was selfish, I know. I shouldn't have done it. Her words hit me like a punch to the gut. I had never seen Lily so vulnerable before. It was hard to hold on to my anger when she was this broken. I understand that you want to feel special, Lily. But you don't have to take things from people to get that. You don't need to take from me to be enough. You are enough. The words hung in the air between us, and for the first time in days, I felt a glimmer of hope. Maybe, just maybe, this could be the start of healing. But I knew it would take time. Time to rebuild the trust, time to work through the hurt. I'm still angry, I said quietly, my voice softening. And I don't know how long it'll take for me to forgive you. But I want to try. I just need you to understand why this hurts so much. Lily nodded, wiping her tears. I do understand, Mom. I'm so sorry. I really am.